footage shows who's really on attack.
They call us raging rebels, say the city's lost control, but all I saw were dancers turning pepper spray to gold. They wanted rage for ratings, fire they could frame, but laughter broke the narrative, they couldn't play the same.
They said we're falling apart, but they've got it wrong. There's music in the madness and a heartbeat in the throng. We're still here, still laughing, still dancing in the rain. They can spin their stories, but the truth remains the same. You can spray the air, but you can't kill the song, cause the beat of the people keeps marching along. We're the frogs and the dreamers, the ones they can't define, turning tear gas into rhythm, chaos and calm. Let them say we're broken, we'll just prove them wrong. We're still here, still dancing when the country sings along. You know, I think sometimes we forget who we are. We've weathered wars, recessions, riots, and rain, and somehow we still throw barbecues and dance in the drizzle. We've argued at the dinner table and hugged before dessert. We've lost our tempers, our way, our jobs, but never our sense of humor. And maybe, just maybe, that's the thing that'll save us. Not louder yelling, not better slogans, but one ridiculous frog suit at a time, because deep down, we are America. And in America, frogs can dance at protests without expecting to be pepper sprayed for it. Yeah, I call it naive, but I can feel it. That slow, stubborn sanity creeping back. It's in the laughter and the music and the people who refuse to hate back. We're still here, still laughing, still dancing in the rain. They can spin their stories, but the truth remains the same. You can spray the air, but you can't kill the song, cause the beat of the people keeps marching along. We're the frogs and the dreamers, the ones they can't define, turning tear gas into rhythm, chaos into rhyme. Let them say we're broken, we'll just prove them wrong. We're still here, still dancing when the country sings along. So here's the hearts that never gave in, to the laughter that burns brighter than the spin. The future is a stage and we're right in the
picking up litter and raking leaves and shit on account of they ain't got much else to do in DC, because despite what Trump said, turns out it ain't exactly the Mogadishu of the mid-Atlantic. Alright y'all, so Donald Trump wants to deploy more National Guard troops to American cities like Portland and Chicago, and why not, after they did such a good job cleaning up the streets of DC? No, literally. I mean, they've mostly just been picking up litter and raking leaves and shit on account of they ain't got much else to do in DC, because despite what Trump said, turns out it ain't exactly the Mogadishu of the mid-Atlantic. If there's one thing we can count on the Trump administration for, it's doubling down on dubious dumbassery. So even though the DC deployment has been objectively a complete waste of time and taxpayer dollars, Portland and Chicago are next, and for the same stated reason, because their soft, dim leaders have allowed each of these blue cities to devolve into gay Gotham, just overrun by Antifa terrorists, right? I've said it before, but it's so funny to me the way these people view the far left, especially in places like Portland. It's like, aren't they just a bunch of wispy soy boy cucks riding their unicycles to gender studies class and dreaming up pronouns and shit? Or are they a dangerous insurgency? An elite faction of Special Forces shadow queers capable of bringing Toby Keith's America to its knees at any time. Like, which is it, MAGA? You know, I guess one of the main reasons they say the guard's needed in these cities right now is because ICE agents there are under siege by Antifa. But if that's true, shouldn't that be, like, really embarrassing for ICE? Like, patriots are supposed to trust these guys to rid the country of its scariest / brownest threats, but yet they can't even handle the barista brigade? Like, kind of makes it seem like ICE is just a bunch of big old bitches, if you ask me. Speaking of which, ICE just did a raid on a Chicago apartment building where they rappelled from helicopters in the middle of the night and terrorized a bunch of U.S. citizens, many of whom were children, by dragging them into the streets and ransacking their homes. And you just know they felt so cool doing it too, especially because of that helicopter part. Like, in their minds, these guys are all like starring in an early 90s Steven Seagal movie, but in reality, they're starring in a 2020 Steven Seagal movie. Like, you know, the one where he's fat and sucks and everything's dumb about it all. But anyway, according to ICE, this mission was a success because they arrested 37 supposed gang members. But even if that's true, they still also traumatized nearly 300 innocent people in the process. So how does that math work? Like, if you were at a suburban Little League game and one dad gets drunk and belligerent, so someone calls the cops, and then they show up in riot gear, throwing flashbangs into the dugout and zip tying all your infielders and shit. Like, is anybody going to say that was justified just because they also arrested Randy's drunk ass? No, you're going to say that that's bullshit, and most cops would say the same. You know, I mean, unless it was in a black standard operating procedure. But still, you know what I mean. Like, this is insanity. And they know that. They don't care. You know, in fact, it's all part of the plan. They're just going to keep escalating. And
Jim Orlando says, are you there?
2 miles out.
The way Michael Scott declared bankruptcy, and bam, martial law and the death of democracy. Well, we cannot give them what they want here, all right? Like, we have to keep protesting all this shit, sure, but without falling into their trap and becoming violent. Except for throwing that shit's hilarious.
Jim Orlando says,
all right,
we already logged in and we're back checking the parts, so we'll come get you in the lobby when you get here and sign in because you want to watch a 10-minute safety video.
Part of the reason?
I don't want to watch a 10-minute safety video. You know, my policy is safety third.
Zip tied during Chicago ICE raid. Now, I feel like even if you're kind of pro-ICE, you read that and you go, well, that seems excessive. They probably shouldn't have done that. That's a bad look. And you wonder, how could anyone disagree with that? But if we use the Ground News Chrome extension to click through the full coverage, you start to get an idea.
Jim Orlando says, well, then you can sit out in your car, then no problem.
Here we got the coverage breakdown.
Hey, don't be Debbie Downer on me. You guys are 2 minutes early.
No bones about it. Egregious abuse of basic rights. Fascism now. They're calling it like it is with this story, but on the right, they're not calling it at all. Only 4 sources, many of which are dubious, and even some of these right-leaning sources note that this raid swept up citizens and families. So sometimes if you don't know how to spin a story, you just don't do the story at all, right? And if you only get your...
Don't be Debbie Downer with me. You guys are 2 minutes early.
News from right-leaning media, you might not ever even know that this happens. So you see something that makes you furious and you wonder how your neighbor doesn't care. This is how that happens, and that is the extra context and transparency that Ground News provides for you, so you can be as informed as possible and not let the media in this country dictate the narrative to you anymore. So if that sounds good to you, scan that QR code there, click the link in the description below to try Ground News today. You can get 40% off their highest tiered Vantage plan. That's the one with all the perks in it. That's the one that I use.
Great. You can tell him to stick his pussy nose elsewhere. Because he is sniffing up the wrong crack.